Good morning,
Hello,
everyone.
everyone. How you
Hey, hey, hey.
doing?
Oh,
Hey,
Georgia Ellison in out the back. Look at that. Kia ora whanau,
Right.
straight from
first
Georgia. Oh, look at
on.
that.
Now it's a
Good,
race.
That,
So
Georgie.
good.
Yeah,
that
so
has to be
good.
a bit of a record from old Georgia.
That-
Thank you for that.
That's right.
I'm
We should be
impressed.
handing out prizes for
We should
first
be.
one.
Not under level 4. Maybe once we
No,
get to level 2, we'll hand out prizes.
that's right.
But it's great to have you all with us today. Day 29 of the lockdown. Is that correct, or am I got my days wrong? I don't mind it. I'll carry on.
Yeah.
It is great to have you with us watching today. Whether you're watching on Facebook or on YouTube, or watching on the church website, or if you're listening to this later in the day on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, it is great to have you with us. It's great to be together, even though we are physically apart. Mon and Rob, how are you guys doing? Great to have you.
Oh,
Yeah.
doing good.
Yeah, doing good. Yeah, go Rob. Doing good.
It feels it's starting to feel like winter. So, and there's something I enjoy about winter. Winter food, of course, but being inside, being warm, cozying up. There's something good about winter. So, yeah,
There is
Yeah.
something good about
that's
winter.
me.
Mon, how you doing?
I'm doing really good. Yeah, I love cozy mornings. I love autumn and winter. I love even yesterday, like a warm day and cold nights. Yeah, I'm all about it. So yeah,
I
love it.
am enjoying that we're at the point of transition between autumn and winter where it's okay to wear slippers all day long. And so that is what I am currently doing, which is
Yeah,
fantastic.
same.
Yeah. But let's throw things over to the
Especially-
comments. Let's say good morning to a few people. Donna Marie says good morning.
Good
Nice.
morning.
Pauline Longley, morning peeps.
Yeah,
Carly
Pauline.
Kerr is saying good morning to Georgia. So there you go.
Yeah,
Private message.
Jamie is saying, what's up, gentlemen and Mon.
Hey, Jamie.
Graham Randall saying, hi, wonderful team.
yeah, I love the Randalls.
Ray Willis, good morning.
Hey, Ray.
And Cook, good morning. All you are the sunshine of the day. Oh, that's kind of nice.
Oh, it's so cute. Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Lovely.
So sweet.
George Allison was
Love
just
it.
saying that yesterday was so beautiful. I didn't want to be stuck inside writing my essay for uni. Now, I also know George has
Yeah.
just finished watching every single Bond movie as well, so I don't really know how much uni work
I
we get
know.
done in the Allison household.
Yeah, I know. How many are there? How many Bond movies are there?
There are a lot. There are many.
Crazy.
I can't give you a specific number, but there are many movies.
Many, yeah.
I can see Rob's trying to scramble or trying to remember how many there are, but there are.
Yeah. There was a you know how they did that 9 and 10 on the radio, and you had name 9 in 10 seconds. Oh mate, some people just killed it. I just couldn't remember that 5 or 6 deep, and I was done.
So George has just let us know there's actually 25 of them. There's 25 movies, and it took 53 hours to get through all of them.
3 hours.
That's incredible.
That is amazing.
That's a marathon, man. That's amazing.
That is a marathon and a half. What actually, before we get into the serious things of today, what are some of the worst movie marathons you've ever done? I can start with this. The worst movie marathon I've ever done is actually the Indiana Jones movies. I went through and watched them before going to see the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and Indiana Jones movies by themselves are fantastic, but when you watch the 3 back to back, it is horrible. Like it is a bad experience. I did not agree. I don't know what it is about it. It just was the worst. So I don't know if you guys
One
got
of
any
them have
terrible
Sean
movie.
Connery in it. One of them has Sean Connery in it, right?
The Holy Grail
Yeah, he
one.
plays the dad. Yeah.
That one's the good one. That one's awesome.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah.
Oh well.
But I don't know. Maybe saying just about 9 hours of Harrison Ford gets a little bit tiring, but then at the same time, Star Wars is amazing. So I don't get it.
Yeah.
I think probably anything with Nicolas Cage. Several solid movies of Nicolas Cage would do your head in, maybe.
Maybe. Maybe. You either love the Cage or you hate the Cage.
I really like him.
I enjoy Nicolas Cage for all the wrong reasons. It's fantastic. So maybe you comment today if you've watched a terrible movie marathon before. We can type that in. We didn't plan on talking about that. It just came up thanks to Georgia. I do have a good question for both of you this morning and for you in the comments today. It's on the heels of our conversation yesterday with Charles Hewlett, the national leader of the Baptist Union. Fantastic conversation with him yesterday. If you haven't had a chance to listen to the episode, go back and listen to it after this, or listen to it on the podcast, because he has some gems of goodness. But on the heels of what he was saying yesterday, what is one spiritual discipline or practice that really helps make Jesus real to you in this season?
Ooh.
Monica, I think you should start us off with this today.
Oh my gosh. Real. I guess there's so many things. Obviously his word, but I really have tried to connect in a different way. And honestly, it's been so great. I was saying to someone yesterday, I have loved being able to connect with Jesus, like with the audio Bible, and just kind of hearing that is amazing. But obviously to me, nature, I think the first time I ever went into the Rocky Mountains, suddenly I felt like the Psalms are real. You know what I mean? Like I lift my eyes to the hills, and where comes my help is God. It's like the majesticness of the Rocky Mountains to me was just staggering to me. Yeah. And I kind of felt like, okay, this is amazing. Yeah. Jesus is here. Yeah.
Awesome.
So good.
Rob, what about you?
For me, I'm a structured person. And so a really good devotional. I've had this one for about 5 years. I love it. It's got a reading plan in it. It's got some other readings as well. It's got a prayer journal aspect to it. And to go with that, I actually have been prayer journaling for a number of years. And I can go back to, I don't know, what's this? This is about 8 years ago, and read prayers that I was praying about what I was doing in those spaces and what God was doing. And then, you go through and you can see just ways in which God has been faithful and been answering those things. So prayer journaling for me is a big thing. So that's two ways which I can.
That's so good. For me, of course, we've got a 7-month-old in our house, and we've found actually singing to her helps her fall asleep. And for me, I always take that opportunity when it's my turn to sing to her, to sing worship songs. And for me, it's like putting my daughter to sleep, but also having a mini little sing worship time kind of thing. And it's just my terrible voice, no real structure to anything kind of thing. But there's a real sense of Jesus' presence in those moments of doing that. And it's something that I wouldn't normally get to do. And, we're in a season where we're not getting together corporately on a Sunday to sing together kind of thing. And so doing this little thing with my daughter is beautiful. And there's a real sense of connection with Jesus in those moments. The thing I like about what each of us have shared is it's a simple thing, and this is what Charles was saying yesterday, is like simplicity beyond complexity. And once we get our simple things in line, like focusing on Jesus, spending time with him, reading in the word, everything else begins to fall into place, especially in times of chaos and crisis like the season we're in right now. So I want to throw things over to the comments just for a little bit to see what people are thinking over there. George has just replied with a big comment saying, "For me in this season, it's supernatural peace about what is coming in the future, and that no one doesn't know God doesn't have it. Well, hang on, in the future, and no one, Rob, I do the same with my prayer journal. Love looking back at things where things are answered when I didn't expect it.
Yeah, so good. Yeah,
it's awesome. Yeah. My wife has also chimed in saying they were watching a Nicolas Cage movie tonight, so.
Oh, for you. So, come on. I'm sorry. National treasure.
Yeah. Family man. Yeah.
There you go.
Funny thing about our spiritual life, and just to toe-talk what George is saying there, is that we have a short-term memory when it comes to spiritual things. So what God has done, we quickly forget. And when you look back at the Bible, they always did things like created a monument, or they built an altar, or it was a memorial that said, this is what God has done. And so I think prayer journaling is a great way of doing that. Yeah,
it is.
Oh, it is. It's creating a monument. Remember, it's always being called back to remember what God has done. Remember. And if you can remember, you can have peace about the future. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amen.
I've actually, so one of my roles, excuse me, is that I help work with the Global Leadership Network here in New Zealand, but my role is actually part of an international role. And we have this group on an app. I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's this prayer app. And so people from around the world, all these international producers, can be submitting their prayer requests, and together we can be praying for one another. Yeah. And I love just going in and seeing what people are praying for, and it keeps a record of it. And you can see who's prayed for those specific things and all that kind of stuff. It's like a digital prayer journal for a collective community kind of thing, which I think is really nice and really beautiful. Yeah. Which is really, really cool.
Yeah. And taking the mystique, Bernie, out of prayer, I think since we're on that vein, that it is a conversation, you talking and listening to God and interacting with his word, and not just reading it, but it's like, well, what do you mean by that, God? Can you reveal? And God, this is what this says about you. But talking, it's like a combo. We're also meant to be still and listen, but at the same time, it's like talking, waiting for his response. You engaging with what he's saying, and so
It's awesome. Graham Randall's just chimed in saying that it ties in with what Craig was saying on Sunday. People of the Old Testament always look back to remember what God had done, which is true. And Hannah from Wellington is saying that I enjoy thinking about God through the art I do. I'm hanging out for the Rembrandt series, God, the ultimate artist who created this world. Come on.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, let's pivot the conversation now. Rob, Flavor Rob, hit us with your flavor.
Flavor Rob, come on.
Get excited, people. Get excited. All right. Today, this recipe is all for my American listeners out there all over the world and in Bethlehem. We are going to talk about a pecan, pumpkin, and maple syrup pie, which just warms my heart. It's a winter warmer, let's just say. Okay. So unlike America, we're not going to get our can of puree pumpkin. We're actually going to cook some pumpkin. All right. It's really easy. Chuck it in the oven, drain it, roast it. You get a little bit more sweetness out of it. And you need about 500 grams of roasted mashed pumpkin puree. Then you need some brown sugar. You need some cream. So 100 grams of brown sugar, 250 mils of cream, 3 egg yolks, and 3 tablespoons of maple syrup. And then whatever spices you want to put in there, I suggest nutmeg, cinnamon, cloves, ginger. All right. Teaspoon of each of those. Whisk all that together. That's your baking stuff that goes in your pie crust. All right. So a couple of weeks ago, I talked about short crust sweet pastry. You want to line it in, bake that off, and then put that filling on the inside of it. And then it needs to bake at about 160, so a lower temperature, for about 50 minutes. And then you put some roasted pecans on top of that. So you get them, put them in the oven, let them roast, get them nice and brown, put that round on top, drizzle a little bit of your leftover maple syrup or a lot of it, and you're all done. Okay. That is going to be an absolute blessing to you over this autumn period. You want to make it. I know it sounds really labor intensive, but this is a time where we have extra time. Do your pastry case, make the filling. You are going to love it. Okay. So and pumpkin maple syrup pie, get to it. If you want a recipe, private message me. I've got a recipe. I can send it to you.
There you go. All right, you can hit up Flavor Rob for the recipes.
Right on, Rob. That sounds incredible.
Delicious. Monica, as a pumpkin pie enthusiast, how does that sound to you?
I want to have that in a latte. I want to have that in a muffin. I want to have that in a cake. You name it. That combo that you just mentioned would be awesome in a muffin, in a latte. Oh my gosh, Rob, come on, you're onto a good thing here.
Yeah. I do enjoy the fact, Monica, you said this before we started the show, that this is the only way Americans actually eat pumpkin is within the pie or latte setting. So I find that
we don't eat it as a vegetable. It's like, what? Yeah, but it's like it's in a pie. It's sweet. It's right.
You also carve them out. You don't eat them either. You just carve them out for Halloween.
Exactly, and we check out the innards, or you make a pumpkin pie.
There you go.
There you go.
Very cool.
Well, we'd love to hear how things are going for you guys in terms of with your trying any of Rob's tips. So with anything, you can send it through to stories at bethlehem.org.nz. Whether it's stuff you do with your kids, we want to see some pumpkin pies. So fire those through to that email address. You can also tag the church in any social media posts with @BethBatChurch. We'll be able to see those as well. So if you're doing any cooking or activities with your family today, just tag them or send them through to us. Love to see you trying some of Flavor Rob's recipes. It'll make Pedro, the manager, more inclined to grant his book deal. So the more we see people acting upon this stuff, the more we need going. If at any time during this season you need any help with anything, whether it be some of the things we talked about on our Wednesday midweek health checkups, whether it's spiritual, mental, or physical health, or you just need someone to talk to, or you just need some assistance, care at bethlehem.org.nz, or you can give the church a call. You can also text in your prayer requests to 4040 using the keyword BBC Prayer. You can also use the church website as well. There's an online forum for that as well. And this weekend, we will be having our services at 9 and 11 a.m. On Facebook, YouTube, and on the church website as well. So we'd love to have you join us this weekend. We're actually beginning a new series based on God's kingdom. So Craig will be kicking that off this week. So we'd love to have you be with us then, as we also think about Anzac Day as well on Sunday as well. So 9 and 11 a.m. YouTube, Facebook, and the church website. And of course, I mentioned at the top of the show, but after we finish recording these things, I go and put them up on Spotify and Apple Podcasts for your listening pleasure. All previous episodes are up there as well currently right now. If you want to go back and listen to a few, good, do that. It'd be great. Subscribe and like it if you think it's good. If not, don't do that. But thank you to all of you who are listening in post. It is great to have you with us, even if you're not here with us live. Great to know that it's helping you out as well. Well, and Cook is asking, what's your email, Rob? Or you prefer Facebook?
I will private message you now.
Okay, there you go.
There you go.
There you go. But you could email stories@bethlehem.org.nz and we can connect you that way as well. So if you blast that email as well, we'll figure it out from that point as well.
Yeah.
Well, this morning we have a wonderful couple of guests.
So exciting! Yeah,
it's gonna be a lovely time. So Clint, I talked about them yesterday. Clint and Tracy Harris. They're I can see what they're doing currently off camera, and it's hilarious. But they're joining us this morning. So they're based in Hamilton. Both of them are early childhood educators, but they've also had a large involvement in a number of different ministry areas. But I thought, as a good way of introducing them this morning, I would share with you part of one of the little videos they've been doing for kids. And so they've been recreating mat time from their home for the kids at home. So let me show you this as a way of introducing. This is Clint.
Good morning. Hello. How are you today? We're going to sing our morning song, and I hope you guys are ready to sing along with us. Okay.
Sounds ready.
Have a good day.
How cool is this? How great is this?
Have a good day. Be a pie soda. Have a good day. Be a pie soda.
All right, that's enough. That's enough of that. We'll bring Clint and Tracy on right now. Here they are. Oh, goodness. Good.
Oh, sorry.
Good morning.
Sorry.
Lots of love around here.
Obviously busy on your end of things. So thank you for taking some time out to be with us this morning. I'm really enjoying the stuff you're putting out on Facebook, and we'll talk about that a bit more in just a moment. But why don't you, as a way of getting underway, why don't you tell us a bit about yourselves and how things have been in your bubble over the last few weeks?
Sure. Cool. Okay. About us. We've been married for 29 years now, crazily enough. We are here home in Hamilton. We've got our two sons. They're both in their 20s. They're home with us in our bubble, which is awesome. Sadly, our daughter is up in Auckland. She decided to stay up there. She's working from home, so she's in her flat bubble, but doing well, which is good. What have we been doing? We've been keeping busy with a mix of paperwork. We're both early childhood teachers, with a bit of exercise, lots of walks around the area, some cooking. We've all been experimenting with different recipes, and we've all been eating far too much.
Yeah, eating way too much.
Is a pumpkin pie the next recipe you're going to try after Rob's
recipe?
Yes,
I was quite interested in the pumpkin pie idea. I'm not really a pumpkin pie. I'm not a pie sort of person, but I mean, honestly, the way Rob delivered that, I could be convinced.
Yeah.
Bless your life.
Yeah.
It's going to bless your life, I tell you.
And so we just shared a quick little clip of what you guys have been doing for your children and stuff like that. So give us a little bit of the story behind why you've decided to do that.
I mean, it was just an idea that sort of popped into my head on the sort of in the 2 days leading up to the lockdown, the beginning of lockdown. I sort of thought, heck, how do we keep connected with our families? And obviously, we use a learning platform that we can post stuff to quite easily. And I thought, oh, heck, I'm just going to go for it, and I'm going to put up a mat time. And I threw that up on to the learning platform, Story Park, and the response from just and honestly, our kindergarten's only about sort of 40, 50 families. The response was massive. It was really good, you know. And you sort of think you get your views, you count the views, you get 50 views. Well, that first mat time, there was like 270 views.
Oh, wow.
Which made me think that the parents are either watching this over and over again, or people are incredibly bored.
Yeah.
No, man, that was amazing, and you guys need your own show.
Yeah, so we started doing something for our church as well. So and added to a parents' Facebook page, and then some friends from outside church started hearing about it, and so they just said, just start throwing them up on Facebook. And I went, okay, and
we kept saying no, we don't want people to see this.
But it sort of blew up on us. So it's been good. We've really appreciated that it's been a positive thing for families, and you know, and I think probably for some of my friends, just a good chance to have a bit of a laugh at watching us dance around being eggs. So yeah. I mean, honestly, very low production.
Just like what we have here. This is
right.
this is why we like having you on the show today.
This is massive. I wish I could go 4 screens. But I mean, obviously, like you guys, made with lots of love. So we're enjoying it.
And they are fantastic clips. And I know for people with young families, I'm sure they're super helpful and entertaining. So I hope you're encouraged by the response to it, because obviously it is meeting a need in this current lockdown time. One of the things I've seen that you guys have been doing as well with your family is seem to have been doing a game night like almost every single night. It's like this extended championship of game nights, which I think is fantastic as a way to go through lockdown kind of thing. What would be your keys to a successful game night as a family?
In my case, just winning a game.
He hasn't won many.
Yeah, so we've been going for 15 days now.
Oh wow!
And in that time, I've won one game.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm sort of stoked that my daughter isn't here with us because there's a game she really loves playing and she probably would have won it. So I live with the haunting reality that possibly I could be on 0.
Yeah.
So you're grateful.
Successful game night. You've got to
no Monopoly.
No, definitely no Monopoly. For us,
Monopoly deal.
Yeah.
For us,
for us, it's been turning up and bringing a little bit of hype, a little bit of competition, which is sort of hard to do when it's the same 4 people. Again and again. But our boys have been up for it, and just reminding each other of where you stand in the pickings.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Tracy, what are you on?
At the moment, I'm on 4 wins.
Yeah.
And I was leading the chase there for a while, but both the boys have passed me now.
Yeah.
They're on 5 each.
Yeah. So fun. Sounds like so much fun.
It is. And you got to be, I mean, I think to make it really successful so that people keep turning up, you got to be really gracious.
Yeah.
And you got to celebrate the winners.
Let people win, eh?
You do.
Let people win, bro. Oh, yeah.
Oh, no. Don't get me wrong, Rob. I'm trying my hardest. Literally tooth and nail trying to win these games.
Yeah.
It gets louder and louder as he gets closer to winning.
Oh.
There you go. I hope there's some kind of championship trophy that's going to be presented at the end of the whole ordeal.
Every night we
win the owl.
We win this little porcelain owl.
Nice.
It goes out and it's been kissed a number of times, so it gets quite often in our family.
Maybe it ought to be.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. So
that is so good.
Maybe there's some families listening tonight. They've gone through 27 days and haven't had a game night yet out of fear of repercussions. Maybe hopefully they're inspired to do one of those tonight.
Absolutely.
So good.
I think on that line of thinking, what would be your top 3 creative ideas for families in lockdown, especially those with maybe younger kids? Because people at week 4, it's been a long time. They're probably exhausted their commonplace ideas of things 2 weeks ago, kind of thing. What are some of your top 3 creative ideas for those young families?
That's a great question. What I would like to say would be it's just turning everyday things into games, that all of a sudden it doesn't become a chore, it becomes a fun event, that you can all engage in and stuff. So, whether it's bath time and they have to see how many toys they can dunk down into the water, or folding clothes. How many red items have you found today, sort of thing. So just making it fun.
Yeah, and I think using everyday objects as learning opportunities, and everyday routine as part of learning opportunities. Like I think about things like pots and pans suddenly become a music lesson. Cooking becomes a science lesson. Reading books, like the idea of sitting down and reading books becomes incredible moments of literacy. And then playing some card games where you have to count maths. You're like, how many games has Tracy won? 4. How many How many has Clint won? 1.
1.
Who's the biggest loser here? Yes. Those sort of everyday moments to create learning moments for children. I think cooking is a massive learning moment, and you can have so much fun. So include your kids in that moment. And again, it'll get messy. I've seen some funny stuff coming from parents who have done stuff with their kids, like going to cook a cake, and suddenly all the eggs in the cake are being thrown, dragged and thrown into the children's bedroom. Taking off of the eggs in the cake's like a fail. But it's been amazing to watch that sort of stuff happening. So cooking is a really cool.
And we've got time at the moment, so
yeah.
You're not worried.
There you go. There's some good tips about how you can spend some more time with your families and especially young kids. I like all that. Pauline Longley's just chimed in saying that's how we actually homeschooled for 6 years and we survived. I like that. I like that. We survived. Yeah.
Every day.
And Graham Randall's just chimed in saying that cooking is great, even for us old kids. So it's not an old thing.
Yeah.
Retired.
You just get frowned upon more if you start throwing eggs into your bedroom if you're 25.
It's great.
Cooking's great.
Parents are, and I want an encouragement to parents. You are the best educators in your child's life.
Absolutely.
You'll be better than anyone who's trained, and I say that quietly because I need a job. But parents are the best educators, and so if you're doing the mahi with your kids right now, I just want to applaud you.
Well done.
It's so good to see that families have really stepped up and made the most of this time. So.
Sure.
Just keep having conversation. I think that's important. Just chat about everything.
Yeah.
So good. So before we started the show, we talked about more of what you guys are involved in. And of course, you're early childhood teachers, but you said for your church, you work with young adults. And for me, I know you best from my years working alongside you with Easter Camp.
Yep.
I was going to say I first heard you play in late 80s when I was 13, but I didn't want to make you feel older than what you already feel.
You don't need to do that. I know how old I am.
Yeah. But so you've been involved with Easter Camp. It's been a huge part of your story for a long time, especially the creative side to thing and the all that side of thing. And so this year was an unusual one because there was no physical Easter Camp. So I was wondering if you'd be open to talk through what Easter was like for you this year. And some of the things you still did as whether it be a family or as a community to help celebrate Easter.
Yeah, Easter was quiet, and
it's very odd.
Well, not odd. It became this clear need to reflect. You had the space, you had the time, and you had lots of sort of ways to connect with that moment. I loved the stuff that churches did over that time, and we dropped in on BBC's service.
Awesome.
So thank you. It was loved it. Really appreciated the thought that went into it, and it was nice to sort of pause and reflect on that. But we had communion as a family together, and got to pray together, and try to keep it as simple as possible, because it could be the sort of thing you could have overthought. But in of itself, Easter just sort of it arrests you, and it sort of grabs a hold of you without having to do much. So it was really quiet and reflective. But we really missed the Easter camp this year.
Yeah.
There was that sort of heartbreak for lots of youth communities, I suppose. That was the big thing for me as I thought about Easter camp, not being able to be a part of that moment. And but again, I want to just applaud all the communities that went after young people over that time as well. And it was cool looking back on that Easter camp, the old Easter camp reels that they put up on Facebook. That was heaps of fun.
Really cool
to be a part of that as well. But yeah, Easter camp, Easter was quiet, but it was still
reflective. Was good. Yeah,
it was good.
Yeah.
So I guess out of that as well leads into our final question with you guys this morning is what has God been showing you during this time? Because we've had this huge disruption to the normal, and we've talked a lot about that over the course of the show. But I want to hear from you guys in particular. What has God been showing you during this time of lockdown?
Cool.
Yeah, that's a good question too. I guess there's been a few things. For me. I really felt a little while ago that God sort of put me into a new opportunity, which has been exciting and busy and big. But there have been moments where it's been quite stressful and hard work as well. And so at the start of lockdown, I was just sort of questioning God a little bit, is this really where you want me to be? Is this, are you still in this, and that kind of thing. And I just strongly really felt a sense of peace there, that God definitely brought me into it. I can't get away from that. And I had this real sense that I needed to be content with what I was learning and every day, and being able to look back and go, I've been learning things, and every day is purposeful, that God uses that. And so I felt, okay, I need to be happy where I am. Which is awesome, and so I got to that point happy with it. Interestingly, a few days later, I was made redundant. So, I'm going, oh, okay, gosh, that's an interesting step after just coming to that point. But I still got that sense, I've got to be happy in my everyday, and God uses that. He's with me in the good and in the bad and in the normal routine boringness of an everyday. And I can trust him ultimately, and that he has purpose, he has plan, and this is for me, for growth. It's for me to encourage others with. It's to build character and to grow closer to him. So I've been really thankful actually that I've had time to reflect and to just know that I can trust my God. And sort of right at the start, I've been reading through Psalms, and Psalm 31, just as I was sort of pondering, where am I and what should I be doing? It talks in Psalm 31 about, God loves us, as all Psalms do, and how he is our strength, and he is our courage, and he is where we get our hope from. So
good.
So good.
Thanks for that, Tracy.
Yeah.
What about you?
Probably the thing, it's for me, I'm a little bit of I love action. I love to be able to get into stuff. Lockdown has obviously stopped that, and actually started again, like Tracy, helping me question some of who I am and who actually God wants me to be. And probably the thing that's been on my heart over the last, and God's definitely been speaking into over the last couple of weeks, is who are you going to be at the end of lockdown?
Such a good question.
Who are you going to be? Because, and I felt like God was saying, because I want you to be completely different to the person you were. I want you to be different from pre-lockdown. I want you to be a different person. And this passage from Galatians 2:20, I've been crucified with Christ, and the life I now live, as it's for Him. And so getting rid of that old and moving into a new normal. So it's been a good little challenge. So that's something that I'm hoping, and I'm going to invite some friends to sort of keep checking in on that with me, because it'd be easy to say, but way harder to do, because it'd be so easy to just jump back into normal, what we're used to. But we've been given such a blessing in this time, and some people will not see it as a blessing, but for me, I'm taking it as a blessing to change my view of the world around me, and look at it a lot more through how Jesus sees it, and to live accordingly. So,
so good. It ties into what Craig was saying on Monday about the hangi, and coming out of the hangi of this time being like us being in the hangi and coming out of it. How do we come out well from that time under that pressure and that change and stuff like that? So, just as we close out our time today, why don't you pray for us as we finish in a moment? And I just want to invite people to join us again back tomorrow morning at 9:00. Tomorrow we have Campbell Hill from Good Neighbor on the show with us tomorrow morning, talking about what they've been up to. But Clint and Tracy, thank you for your time this morning. Why don't you pray for us now?
Thank you so much.
I'm just going to read something first. Now, to whom is able to do far more abundantly than all that we ask or think, according to the power at work within us, to him be the glory in the church and in Christ Jesus through all generations, forever and ever. Amen. Jesus, we want to see your work in this land during this time, and I thank you for the BBC team and Lord, the way they've been helping guide and lead their community, but also the wider community as well of the church in New Zealand. And I pray that you continue to bless them as they seek your heart and look to your leading for the future. Lord, I want to see New Zealand change, and my prayer for us all is that we would be open to your leading for whatever you want to do with us. May we look to you with all of our heart and give you our lives. I pray this in your strong name. Amen.
Amen. Well, thank you, Clint and Tracy, for being with us this morning. Make sure, if you're able to, you go check out some of the videos that they've done. They've been shared by all their friends, so I'm sure it won't take much to find them. But thank you for your words and for your insight, and we just want to bless you as you do go back into work next week with teaching and stuff like that. I hope that all goes really well. But for everybody else, we will see you tomorrow morning at 9:00 with Campbell Hill from Good Neighbor on the show. But thanks for joining us, and we will catch you later. See you, everyone.
Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.